Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Today we have orchids in the mist, and I'm going to let you into a secret. This is the third time I have tried to make this video and it keeps ending up too long. So this might seem a bit hurried, but I'm trying to get a lot of information in one go so that it's all together. And it's quite honestly, for a chatterbox like me, it's not that easy, just trying to keep it short and sweet. But what I want to try and do is cover the care of my orchids in one video. Now you may think that's impossible, but by breaking it down, I don't think it's that, not only is it not that difficult, but it doesn't need to take a long time. So scrap the other two videos and start again. So that's the first time I've ever had to do that. I want to keep it short. Right, out here is a controlled environment. Not everybody has that luxury, but I have, so that's what I want to go over. It will relate to other ways of growing. People who grow in their home, in bay windows or on windowsills or on shelves. You know, it's still a form of growing area, whatever you want to call it. You can call it a greenhouse, a grow room, you know, your dining room, call it what you like, but it's where you grow your orchids. So it's a grow area one way or the other, yeah, and they're all different, they all have variables, but out here I've got a semi-controlled environment, so I have a bit of a luxury. Nonetheless, I have a lot of genera out here, starting at A with Arengus right down to Z, Zygopetalum, and an awful lot of letters in between. What they are at this point doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I'm just trying to break this down into sets of plants. So first of all, light. We all know it's important. We all know that there are different levels of light. Well, in my place, I have three, and I don't necessarily call them what it says in the books. I've got my highest light area. You notice I don't say highlight, it's my highest light area. And at the moment it isn't. And it isn't because it's winter time and the sun comes in the side in the winter. In the summer it comes in straight through the top for quite a lot of hours, and I don't put any shade netting on that bit of the roof. It's the only place that doesn't get shaded in the summer. All it's got is the bubble wrap between the sun and my vandas. So that's my highest light level. My next light level is nearly everything else, and that's what I call good light. Yeah, don't forget I'm in the UK. We get a lot of dull days, a lot of drizzle, and we do get the sun out now and again. So the next level down is good light, that's what I call it. And it means that the plants are in light from somewhere, either from a side or from above or both, but they're not directly shaded by other plants. Part of the plant is in good light. Not necessarily all of it. I've got a lot of plants to try and squash in here. But it's what I call good light, and it's mainly top shelves. So this shelf. Hanging places. Top shelf. Yeah? Shelf up against the glass. It's not a top shelf, but this time of year that's getting the same light as the top shelf because the sun's coming in from the side, not from above. Top shelves, yeah, so that's my good light areas right up near the glass. They don't have to be a top shelf this time of year. This is still getting patchy sun, you know, even though it's not a top shelf. Even on the floor, even on my lowest shelf, yeah, so good light. The next level down is lower light, not low light. Orchids don't grow in the dark. So lower light, and all that means for me is that the plant is virtually shaded by other plants. So that's my lowest light level. And you know, come later in the year, my Paphiopedilums, my Phalaenopsis and my two Psychopsis that are in the house for warmth, and that to me in the winter time is more important than the light. Yeah, they'll go downhill faster in cold temperatures than they will in lower light. So they have to put up with lower light in the winter till they can get back out here, where the light level probably doubles. but it's still lower light. They're shaded by other plants or by being lower down on the shelves when the sun's up above, not coming in from the side. So that's 3 light levels for me. That's it. Next we've got, what do we grow them in or on? Yeah? Well, we can go from bare rooted. Well, the overhead of bare rooted plants, certainly in the warmer weather, is boy do you need to work hard to hydrate them. These get dunked in a bucket, bare rooted, dunked in a bucket every single day and left to soak until those roots can't take any more on board. And then they get left to drip, put back up there, and I do that every single day. The next level is mounted plants that are not bare rooted. So that's things like this. Yeah, they've got some moss. They've also got the ability to have some bare roots. Yeah, so that sort of thing. That will be Tolumnias, most of the Dendrobiums, that sort of thing. This Brassia here that might do better in a pot, but it's doing okay as it is. Yeah, so that sort of thing. Then we get into the pots, and in the pots I've only got 3 categories. I've got those that should stay moist virtually all the time. Most of those are cool growers, and most of those have a finer root system than most others, the exception being the Paphiopedilums that have big thick hairy roots, but they still like to stay moist. They also like small media, not big chunky airy media. Yeah, you can't exclude the air on any orchids. There must be some air in the pots. So I've got a fine bark mix, normally with some chopped up sphagnum for the cooler growers that need to stay moist. And then we go up a level, and the next level up would be medium bark with possibly some moss in, depending on the plant. Yeah, if it's a plant that really doesn't like to dry out, I may put some moss in there as well to just hold that moisture that bit longer. Yeah, and then the next level up above that is virtually all air, and that'll be things like the holy clay pots. Yeah, large chunky bark, lots of holes, and clay that's capable of taking some moisture out of the media. Not much. These are rock hard clay pots. They don't absorb much at all. Soft clay does though. Yeah, so for these, the reason they're in here is because their roots don't hydrate very quickly. Now, if you can grow Cattleyas bare rooted if you want, but you'll probably need to give them either multiple waterings in the warm weather per day, or dunk them in something and leave them to soak. That'll work as well. But in my environment, I can't be doing with this number of plants and dunking them. Yeah, I'd be here all day, every day, so I can't do it. So basically with these plants, the reason they're in there is that when I give those a good water, the bark gets wet, and it will stay wet for long enough to make sure those roots have had the time to take out all the moisture they need. Then they can be left to go totally dry, and then just do it again. The frequency is depending on temperature, day length, weather, yeah? So it's a variable, yeah? So those are the 3 types of pots and the 2 types of non-pots, which is semi-bare rooted and fully bare rooted. So that's that. Right, temperature. I grow intermediate in the main. I push the boundaries for some plants. But my minimum temperature, which is thermostatically controlled with a heater, is 12. And that's a winter low. Yeah, and it's just a nighttime temperature. I have ways of getting the daytime temperature up even on those bitter cold days. So I have a minimum of 12 degrees C. I have no maximum. It's whatever I get. I don't worry that much about it. But there's a reason I can take that worry away, and it's called air humidity. If your temperatures are going to start climbing, your relative humidity will drop. Yeah, these are not desert plants, they like good humidity. So I've got 3 foggers in the summer, only 1 in the winter, that work hard to keep the humidity up. As the temperature climbs, you need to get more water into that air to keep that air nice and buoyantly humid. Yeah, so I do that too. So my top temperature, I don't care. I do have a limit where in my mind I think sort of 27, 28 degrees C is plenty warm enough out here for the sort of plants I got. And for some of them it's too flipping warm. And without that humidity they wouldn't make it. But with the humidity they just hang in there. And some of them absolutely love those higher temperatures. Yeah. So no maximum. And I have ways of keeping that maximum down, which are two giant circulating fans that can create a gale in here if I have to. And by keeping that air almost violently moving across the leaves, it stops those leaves getting too warm. And that stops the plants dehydrating too fast. In addition to that, I've got an extractor fan which sucks the hot air out near the roof, and an inlet fan down on the shady side near the floor that pulls in cooler air. Unfortunately, that also drops my humidity down, which is why I need the foggers to work hard at that time of year. Yeah, so that's my temperature range, and that's it. We've done it now. We've done the 3 levels of light. We've done the different types of ways of growing them regarding what they're growing on or in, including growing on nothing, bare rooted, through the various types of media, and we've done the temperature range. And all I need to do now is add in the humidity and just say that I don't like my humidity dropping below 60%, and I artificially deal with that. But what I don't do is get my plants soaking wet to deal with it. I don't need to. I use the foggers and get the air humid, not the plants soaking wet. That's how I work. And that's it. That's Roger's quick care guide to this type of environment. And you can diffuse what I've said to try and get it to relate to your grow area. I won't say grow room, I'll say grow area, because you could have many different areas in the same house, depending on the windowsill, you know, how much light, all that sort of stuff. Warm room, cool room, many ways of going about it. But that's it. I just class my plants in sets. So from the point I'm going to get a new orchid, first of all, in the main, I will have done my research and found out, will it grow in here? There's no point in getting it if it won't grow in this place. There's just no point. So if it sounds like it's going to do okay in here, it's then a case of, how am I going to grow it? Am I going to grow it in a pot? If so, what sort of pot and what sort of media? Right, that's everything below the base of the plant sorted out. And that'll include bare rooted or mounted if I choose. And then we need to decide what sort of light is this plant going to want. And that will determine where I place it. Yeah? If it's one that's going to need good light all the time, then somehow or other I've got to get it up. You know, I've got to get it on a top shelf or hang it. And get it in a place where it's not shaded too much by other plants. So that'll be up in that light level. And if it's a plant that doesn't need that higher light level, then finding a place for that one will be easy, because it can just go behind other plants, nearer the centre, nearer the glass, higher light. Certainly in the summer months with the sun higher in the sky, top shelves, sun comes in through the top. Yeah, so that's the light positioning. Temperature, I haven't got much choice, because it doesn't vary that much in here, but it varies enough to have a couple of little choices. Up near the roof on the hangers is the warmest place. Yeah, I know that the circulating fans do stir it up, but nonetheless there is a warmer place, and that's nearer the roof. And then there is a cooler place down near the floor. Yeah? So come the hotter weather, my cooler loving plants are down on the floor, or down on the lowest shelves possible. And also in the summer months, I won't leave this there because it's going straight on those blooms, that fogger pushes cool mist straight down on those cool loving plants. But the circulating fans make sure that it's not on them enough to get them wet and leave them damp. So that's it. Quick care guide. Some of that you might find useful, but what I'm trying to do is that step backwards You know, every single plant doesn't need its own special place. It does, but it doesn't. You know, there are many places that plant could probably go where it will be okay. But when you find the right place, I would suggest you leave it there. Don't keep moving it around. But if you think it could be doing perhaps a bit better, try moving it. Yeah, try moving it a bit closer to the light or a bit farther away. You know, try putting it on a lower shelf or a higher shelf if you've got shelves. So, yeah, but that's it. The categorizations of how I look after my plants. What they're going to be planted in or on, what level of light they need, the temperature they're going to get anyway, and the humidity they're going to get anyway. Simple. Really. Yeah. 3 light levels, different types of pots and growing on and in, and where I'm going to put them. And that's it. And once they're there, their care is dictated. They'll come into routines, and those routines will deal with them accordingly. So, maybe not as difficult as some people think. Yeah. Food for thought. Anyway, back to orchids in the mist in the sunshine. What could be better? See you next time.